Welcome to Meet My Mutual with Sarah and Ava. Pour some wine, light a joint, or don't, and meet my mutual.
So hello.
Hello.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Ava. We're trying out introducing ourselves because we feel like, I don't know. Do people who don't know us know our voices?
We never introduce ourselves. So
well,
here we are.
Welcome
back to another episode.
Yeah, of Meet My Mutual.
Hope you guys are doing well, having a good week.
Hope you guys are staying warm for those of you who got hit with a shit ton of snow like New York did and Vermont.
It is.
What the fuck?
Dude, it is snowy out there. My brother said he was driving home from work the night of the big storm and literally had to turn around and go another way because 3 cars were just stuck on a hill. This is great.
That is so terrifying. That's why, speaking of hills, that's why I could never live in San Francisco. I was talking about it with someone because the thought of your car rolling back on a hill or going to park your car and it not parking or something or braking, that's fucking terrifying.
Why am I just picturing Mia Thermopolis in the Princess Diaries in her fucking car?
Those hills are not natural for driving on in normal ass cars. I don't know. People
imagine in a stick shift too. Ooh.
Yeah.
You'd
roll. And not the good kind of roll that we like. Rolling a joint.
No. I was like, what?
Not Molly. Molly. When you're rolling.
Yes, no, I know. It's just funny. I've never done Molly.
I feel like our age, our couple years of age, maybe I'm wrong, listeners, let me know. But we missed that that Molly craze because that was really big in college, but when we were seniors in high school. So you know what I mean?
That's true. Wait, well, we both know at least one person who's done it.
Wait, who?
Remember? I used to go drop Molly with. Yeah, don't put that in there. But yeah,
can we bleep it? We'll bleep it.
Yes, we know someone who would go to raves and.
But it's not 1999 anymore, so I don't know what that was about.
It was something else. Let's stick to the weed.
Let's stick to the weed. Everyone should just stick to the weed.
It's true. And the wine once in a while, not as much.
True.
Speaking of weed and wine, and our whole vibe. We have
our whole fucking show that you're listening to.
Can you tell me about our website?
We have a new website. It's called meetmymutual.com, where you can find a little about page about me and Sarah, and you can see all our episodes and our Instagram and contact us. There's going to be some more things added soon, but that's a surprise.
Stay tuned.
So check it out, send it to your friends, and yeah.
If somebody asks about it or you're telling somebody, which that'd be great, thanks. Send them to our website, and you can find some really old photos of Ava and I. Just the one. It was really hard to find a picture of us together.
I know. We need to sort that out. Yeah, we just sent our picture to someone and for something that they're writing up, and we're oh, the last picture we have is from 2015, but here you go.
Yeah, so. Literally there's 2. One is from a Beyonce concert and the other one is from a Shaggy concert. Times have changed.
He was so bad.
So
everyone left. Everyone walked out.
Yeah, we left.
We left, but I didn't realize the whole park was walking out too until we were surrounded by people.
He just sang the same thing over and over again. He would pause and listen to the audience. It was terrible.
It wasn't me. It was the highlight of his life. And
it was him. I just remember that I had a cold and I took Dayquil and I swore that I was high off Dayquil, but Pat thought I was crazy. He was like, you can't trip off of Dayquil. I was like,
yes,
I'm being weird.
My dad, my father, who is a doctor, he doesn't let me. I mean, I am a grown woman. I can take whatever over-the-counter medicine I desire. But growing up, he did not like me to take Dayquil because it's cough medicine.
Yes, I felt funky. Okay.
It's addicting. He's like, you should really only take it if you have a cough. Like, you shouldn't just
Mhm.
take it if you have like a stuffed nose or a headache because you're getting high off cough medicine. And that's my medical corner for you.
Thank you for the enlightenment. Yeah, I've only ever taken it when I was working an office job or like had places to be, but I was like under the weather, like because it helps you function. But if I'm homesick, like no way, I'll suffer. It's fine. What else is new?
Our episode today is new.
Our episode today is with my friend Natalie, who I have known since like sophomore year of college. We met through mutual friends, and at the time, she was studying herbal medicine. But since then, which was like, oh my God, a long time ago. How long ago was sophomore year of college?
Many moons.
Well, since then, she's moved out
Like
west to Colorado.
7 years, Sarah.
I turn 26 next month, and I just am feeling some type of way about that. But
it's fine.
whew.
Anyways.
Natalie's a small business owner. She has an Etsy shop where she sells handmade jewelry that she like metalsmiths herself. It's beautiful stuff and just like really inspirational. Like she writes like a little story behind all of her jewelry, and she's all about community and like being inspired by the world. And she's just kind of just a good soul to be around. So it's a nice conversation.
She's, as they say, good vibes.
Right. Yeah. But I just wanted to take a sec because last week's episode was, if you haven't listened yet, with Wagwan NYC, amazing taco company. And now we have a jewelry maker. So this is like our second episode with small business owners. And I just think it's important to note that now, especially now, small business owners really need our support. And so we're trying to do that with the pod by getting their stories shared. But, you know, you can support them as well. If you can purchase their product,
post their images to your feed, share them to your story. Like,
yeah,
there's so many ways to help small businesses and friends who are starting projects and supporting them through social media. And that's kind of part of our podcast.
It's kind of the
use
whole
of social media. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like now, like during the pandemic, a lot of people have been inspired to start something new, as did we with this whole thing. But
yeah, you're listening to two of them. So
hey. So yeah, on that note, enjoy, listen to Natalie, learn, buy, share, whatever you want to do. But yeah, thanks. Pour some wine.
Light a joint.
Meet my mutual. Bye. But okay, so if you could just introduce yourself, where you're from originally, where you're based now, and what you do.
So I'm Natalie Snow. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I currently live in Denver, Colorado, and I am the owner, creator of Snow Jewelry Co.
Yes.
Yeah, you are.
So yeah, I hand make original and custom jewelry design.
And they're beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, thank you guys.
I want to buy one.
Yeah, Sarah really wants to buy one.
I really do.
If you could just tell us about your journey with social media, especially like with using your social media for your business and like what your first social platform was.
This question was funny because the first thing that came to my mind was MySpace.
Yes.
I was like, that was definitely my first social media experience, like as a person, as a teenager, back in the MySpace days. But yeah, I started my Instagram in July of 2019. I went back and looked, and it just kind of started as a place where I would post what I was making because I was apprenticing with a jeweler and just kind of like learning. So yeah, I was just posting photos of like, look what I made today. And then slowly as my business has grown and I've kind of got my feet on the ground, it's a place for me to support groups that I feel like need supporting and a place for me to share voices that I feel need to be heard. So
yeah, uplifting voices is definitely like I think the best tool of social media. Yeah,
exactly. So I realize it's a much more powerful tool than I had originally thought.
Yeah. So wait, did you not make your first piece of jewelry until 2019? Or did you just not start your Instagram until then?
So yeah, I had been making jewelry for a long time and I didn't start my official like Snow Jewelry Co. Instagram until then. before that I would just post it on my personal page, but then
Right.
with a lot of influence from family and friends, they're like, make an Instagram, like start your business. So finally
Yeah.
did.
Oh, well, it looks great. And you take all the photography, right?
Yeah, so almost all of the product shots I do.
Okay.
I've been lucky to work with some really awesome photographers, local photographers and models. So there are some beautiful photos from them as on my page as well. And they're of course always tagged in the photos. But yeah, most of the product shots are me, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So
they're gorgeous. I love the whole vibe, and yeah.
Yeah, they're so
Thank
great.
you.
It's like really warm and just, I don't know, it's a good vibe. So when I met you though, I think you were still studying herbal medicine, which I always thought was like so cool. And I wanted to know all about that and what you were planning on doing with that. And now you're like equally creating something as amazing. So I just love to learn about sort of your passion for herbal medicine and what may have started this switch in your career, and if there's any like overlap between the two.
Yeah, I'm definitely still passionate about herbal medicine, natural medicine, holistic health, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely still a huge part of my life. It's hard to explain because it was like I was in school training to become a clinical herbalist, so an herbalist that's certified to see clients. And I was super into making jewelry as a hobby at that time for my whole life. But during this time, I was like beading, like making all kinds of stuff just for myself and friends and family. And I was like, I really want to learn how to put metal together. I didn't know what it was called. Now I know it's called metal smithing.
I was trying to think of the word. I was like, is it welding?
Well, see, it's similar to welding, just on a smaller scale. So
Okay.
That's so badass. I just have to say, like, that's so fucking cool.
yeah, so I was like, how can I do this? How did I learn how to do this? So I was living in Boulder, Colorado at the time when I was in school. And I just did like a quick Google search, like metalsmithing classes. And of course, there was a school that completely taught this,
Wow.
In Boulder. So signed myself up for some classes and got into the studio and was just like in my dream land. Like there was just tools and metal and stones, and it was just like exactly what I wanted. And yeah, I realized that as I started learning how to do it, I kind of had a natural talent for it. So it was pretty much exactly what I had been looking for as far as a job where I could be creative, create something, and make a living doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I started thinking, maybe I want to switch my path. Could I actually pursue this and do it full time and make a living?
Yeah.
So it's been a journey from there, but that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people our age have a very similar dream. Like I know my brother, he was working in the medical field also, and in like sciences and stuff. He totally quit his job, moved to Vermont, and now is like a woodworker and like found his passion like making like woodworking designs.
Exactly. Like, I feel like somehow they're related, but I don't know.
I think it has to do with problem solving. Because I know my brother is such a big problem solver. He loves little puzzles. He loves like figuring out how to do shit. And like science is like figuring out how to cure or heal or something.
Right, there's a solution for each thing. It's not like
that's so true. I've never thought of it that way, but that's so true. And that's definitely something that I like to do. Because when you're making jewelry, you're like, how can I make this structurally sound and beautiful at the same time? And like you're always problem solving in a similar way.
It's just more fun because you get to add that creativity and artistic element, which is awesome.
Yeah. And then you have an amazing finished product that's like, I made this.
Right? Yeah. And I just feel like we all at some level just want to do something creative and like live our life that way as opposed to what we thought we should have been doing, if that makes sense. At least for me.
That's exactly how I feel too. It was like, this is like a reputable thing, like being an herbalist. I'm passionate about this, but then once I found out I could make art and that was reputable also. Yeah.
Well, I was looking through your Etsy page and I was kind of like clicking through different designs and I noticed that each one has like a behind the design section where you sort of talk about the meaning behind the piece. And I would love to just know like what made you decide to do this, and how do you put into words like what that inspiration is? Because it's really cool to hear that story.
A big thing for me, I'm really inspired by human connections and the connections that we feel to different things. So when you see something and you feel like you connect with it and you're like inspired by it, or you have to have it because you feel like it's kind of a part of you, I'm really interested in that. So yeah, I get my inspiration from anything and everything in the world around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to tell people about that story because I find it interesting too. And I think a lot of other people do, as far as like the creative process and where the inspiration comes from. So if I can tell a story along with my piece of jewelry, maybe someone else can connect to that story as well. And it can be meaningful for them too.
Yeah. So would you say that you draw inspiration from like your friendships or relationships, or like just like even observing? Like what's your creative process for finding inspiration?
Mostly observing. It's mostly nature, history, art, literature, events going on around me, just the world around me, I think. And of course, everything we consume can kind of become our inspiration. So seeing other jewelry designs, seeing fashion, seeing art, it all kind of becomes a part of it. Travel, culture, everything.
I am like also really curious about, like you were saying, when you first started, you researched other jewelers, where they sell, how they even do this. And I'm so interested in that technical side. Like, where do you source materials from, gemstones? Like, what is that whole process like? How did you learn
Yeah.
that through your mentor?
Yes. So most jewelers, and that's where I've trained. I trained with a couple different jewelers, and that's where I've learned everything I know. But if you go to a jeweler or a jewelry designer, they usually have a kind of like a subscription or a relationship with a place that they source their materials. So there are larger companies that sell jewelry supplies to jewelers. So it's anything and everything, tools, metal, stones, all that stuff. So because I work with jewelers, I can share that connection with them. So it's basically a big book and you can look through and order whatever you want.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I usually try to, a lot of these sources have more eco-friendly options. So recycled metals, lab-grown stones, American mined stuff. I usually strive to get those things. And when I can, even using recycled stones, like kind of like upcycling an old piece and taking parts of that and turning it into a new piece.
That's
I try
so
to
cool.
do that when I can as well. But there are eco-friendly options out there.
Yeah, I never even think about jewelry being like not eco-friendly. Like it's not even something that comes on my mind. But I guess I'm thinking about all the like quote unquote cheap jewelry with like fast fashion. Like that
Yeah.
stuff must get just thrown in the trash like after 2 weeks.
For sure. And a lot of people don't realize that all the metals and stones come from the earth. So there's a lot of non-eco-friendly options around that.
Wow, that's so true. I recently, I've actually been trying to find better quality jewelry this year because I don't know if I have like oily skin or something, but all of my cheap jewelry after like 2 weeks, it just tarnishes and it's disgusting. Waste of money. So I've been looking at like, real gold or sterling silver or whatever. But yeah, like if somebody is interested in that eco-friendly, long-lasting part of it, what would you recommend that they look for in their jewelry hunt?
So definitely the finer metals, which of course tend to be more expensive, but I tell people, if you're able, it's worth the investment because some of them will literally last forever, like platinum and gold, even sterling silver. If you take care of it, it could last you 50, 100, more years, and pieces are passed down from generation to generation that way. And of course, the higher quality gemstones. Every gem is rated on a hardness scale. So
Okay.
the harder the gem, diamond being the hardest, the more durable and long lasting it is.
That's so interesting.
Huh.
I'm thinking about what you said about like passing stuff down from generation to generation and just like the cultural significance of some jewelry. And I think a lot of that gets lost in like the cheaper fast fashion jewelry that's getting like mass produced, you
For
know?
Yeah.
sure.
It's just interesting.
I've always
Yeah.
loved that idea of having like your grandmother's wedding ring or something and reworking it into a new piece. I just think
Hmm.
that's really nice.
I do
And
too. It makes it really special.
yeah. Do
And
you
now I'm
have,
thinking about, sorry, I'm thinking about the cheap ones I've bought. And those, like, some of the gemstones are probably plastic. And I never
yeah.
even thought about that before.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Glass. They're often
yeah.
glass. So
Oh,
Do you have a favorite piece in your collection that like maybe just even if it's not your favorite style, but just like a favorite story behind it?
I like them all. That's hard.
I would hope so.
I really love, in my personal collection, I think my favorite is the Unity necklace for a lot of
Mhm.
reasons. That's what I currently have, something I currently have in my collection, but the custom orders that I get to do are really special too. Every
Mhm.
single one of those that I make, I love. And I'm always really honored to be able to make something that special for someone.
Yeah. Do you usually get like a story behind the custom design?
Yeah, I usually do. Usually, I'm amazed by how much trust people put in me. They say, I get so many customers who are like, oh, it's my girlfriend's birthday. I really want to give her some hoop earrings, but use sterling silver, make some hoops, and then use your creative freedom to like do
Mhm.
whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you really trust me.
that's awesome.
um, but it's really fun, especially if I know the person or if I can ask questions about the person. I feel like I can kind of try to channel them through this piece. And
Mhm.
then hopefully when they get it and wear it, they feel understood by me and
Yeah.
kind of like connected to that piece of jewelry.
Yeah, it's definitely a very personal thing, jewelry. At least I learn as I get older. I'm like, it's special to have something.
It is,
Especially,
and it's a part of your creative expression, just like fashion. It's like
mhm.
Yeah.
how a lot of people express themselves.
And I love like knowing someone by their jewelry. Like I love knowing like that girl wears that necklace every day or the same earrings and like it's like their
Uh-huh.
signature jewelry look.
Yeah.
That's so true. It's like fashion in the sense that like you'll always have like trendy styles that you might wear like costume jewelry or whatever, but you have your classic style, like something that somebody can pick like, oh, that's the jewelry she wears, that's the outfit she likes, that's the fragrance, whatever. And I just think it's a cool way to express yourself. What do you think about, my dad was asking me this the other day, like jewelry for men, because according to my
I'm
father,
pro. Sorry. Ava is pro.
right? So am I. My dad was like, in the 80s, we used to wear rings and bracelets and necklaces all the time. And he's like, I don't see men doing that anymore. And obviously, I'm in Vermont, so I wasn't sure if it was just a regional thing. But do you ever receive orders for men or like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Sometimes I do. It's definitely less popular, I think, than women's jewelry, but there
Yeah,
are some men that wear jewelry and rock it.
Hmm.
I
Um,
agree.
and it's like you could do anything. You could do earrings, a necklace, rings, a bracelet. Like men's jewelry is a thing. And oftentimes I try to strive for more of a unisex look in my pieces because I
Yeah.
feel like, some people don't even adhere to men or woman labels. So it's like wear what you want, wear what makes you feel happy and you feel like expresses you.
Yeah. You know what made me not like come around to men's jewelry, but growing up like as like a teenager, like I think and you have your head like, oh, guys don't wear jewelry. But fucking Vampire Diaries. They rocked
Oh
the
my
shit out of
gosh.
those rings. They had
They
those
Oh,
did.
big like gaudy rings, but I was like, it's still hot.
yeah.
I always wanted one. Like a daylight
So,
ring.
so true.
So switching gears a little bit, you currently are in Colorado. When did you move out there?
I moved out to Denver almost 2.5 years ago.
Wow. So what was the driving force on that move?
I think a big part of it was my business and kind of my learning. when I moved out here, I connected with a jeweler who was looking for an apprentice. So I thought that would be perfect. I can learn from somebody else. Because every jeweler kind of has their own way of doing things. So that was a big part of it. And I thought, what better way to grow a creative business than be in kind of a creative hub like Denver? There's a lot of small businesses here, a lot of art, a lot of creative people. So yeah, I just felt like that would be a good place to be, and was always curious about living in a city. So I thought, Denver.
Why not? Have you seen what was that, a couple of weeks ago? Have you seen this tweet that's going around that says, it's by Jordan Green. I had no idea who the guy is, but it went viral. It says, when I describe East Coast versus West Coast culture to my friends, I often say the East Coast is kind but not nice, and the West Coast is nice but not kind. East Coasters immediately get it, and West Coasters get mad. Do you feel that?
I saw that and I was like, yes, that is it.
It's so funny.
Denver is kind of different because there are so many transplants here. Like, no one is actually from Denver. But the West Coast, like if you go to California, that tweet is so valid, I feel.
Yeah, as a New Yorker, I'll say it's like when someone asks for directions, like we will absolutely be nice and tell you like how to get there. But if like you ask a stupid question, like you're fucking annoying, like we'll get mad at you, you know?
Yeah. I think the example
on the West Coast,
go ahead.
Like fake nice.
Exactly.
They pretend to be nice, but they're not actually nice.
Exactly. In the thread, the example he used was like, on the East Coast, if you complain that you're cold, some New Yorker will be like, you've been saying that for 5 minutes, like, here, take my coat. Whereas someone on the West Coast will be like, oh, I'm sorry. And then, like, not give you Anyways, I just thought that was funny. I really want to go out west. I've been to California, but I want to check out like Oregon, Colorado, Seattle.
I love Seattle. I can't wait to go back.
I bet. Yeah. Do you get to do a lot of traveling, or do you stick within the state? Well, besides the pandemic, previously.
Luckily, there's a lot to do in Colorado. There's a lot to discover just within this state, which is great. I would love to travel more. It's hard to remember what life was like back then.
I know. But it's so distant.
Oh, hi, buddy. We have a dog.
We love a dog visit.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So cute.
Who are you talking to?
What's his name?
Oh, this is Kiefer.
Hi,
Kiefer. Sorry, mesmerized by this dog. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Yeah, this is a tricky one. My younger self, I think, as far as the journey with my business, if you're being called to do something, listen to it and follow it. No matter what anybody else tells you. If it's what your gut tells you, trust it. That's been a hard one to get over for me, because
why did that give me goosebumps?
Yeah, because it's scary and it's hard to do.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people can relate. I know growing up, I was always told, you have to go to college, you have to get a degree, you have to live your life this certain way, and it just never felt right for me. And I tried so hard for it. I tried so hard to make it my path, and it just wasn't. So once I finally did the thing that, my gut had been telling me to do, it was like everything else fell into place. So I think if you follow your passion, it will take you where you need to go.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and you had said that you were making jewelry your whole life, and you just it took you a while to turn that into a business, but you always knew that that was something that you were really passionate about.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think a lot of times, I don't know, it's like it's always been there in your life. Like, I'm not to talk about my brother again, but like with like his woodworking and stuff, like if you look at pictures of him when he was younger, like he was always building stuff, like whether it was Legos or like blocks, or like, I mean, all kids play with Legos and blocks, but like he was really weirdly good at it. Like I feel like, and then he did certain jobs throughout his teenage years that kind of led him in this direction, even though his like academics were a completely different direction.
Right.
Yeah, there's like always signs.
Always signs. What are your signs, Sarah?
Oh no.
We're working on it.
Yeah. Still trying to figure that out.
It's okay. Well, on the same realm of like advice, I guess, is there any advice that you would give to a fellow creator and like somebody who, like you, is trying to start a business, trying to learn a new skill, and they might just feel unsure of themselves on their journey? Because I'm sure there's a lot of ups and downs as you do that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, if it feels like what you should be doing and what you need to do, stick with it. Even though in the beginning, learning any new skill is really hard, if it feels right, stick with it. It's going to get easier. You're going to get better at it. And it will be so worth it when you do, to see kind of the product of your hard work.
Right.
And to be able to do what you love is priceless. So don't give up. And also fake it till you make it.
Yes. Big supporter of that.
I've learned that most people are faking everything.
Most people, especially successful people, fake it till they make it.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I feel like every successful person will say, if you asked me 5 or whatever years ago, I would never believe you that this is where I am now. Like there's never, I don't know. You just don't know what's happening until you just try. If that doesn't make sense, but like, you know what I mean?
No, I do.
Yeah, it wasn't until recently that I felt like I was actually legit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just felt like I would call myself a jeweler and metalsmith, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm still learning all the time. Until recently, I had to send a kind of a portfolio to someone, and I was like, this looks good.
Yes.
I did that. I'm legit now.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm still learning all the time, but
yes.
Yeah. Sarah, didn't you have a similar, like, you had to put together your portfolio for your freelance stuff? And it was like, it must have felt good to put that together.
It's really weird when you see all your work together in one place because, yeah, you do it collectively over the years and it's like not a big deal, but you see it all there. You're like, oh, hey, I made that. Go me.
Every time I'm like sitting at home and I'm just like, oh, I'm not like, I'm so unaccomplished. I haven't done this, this, and that. And like, and I'm like, oh my God, like I've done so much stuff like to be proud of. Like, go me.
You have so much more time to do everything else you want to do.
I keep acting like I'm nearing my death, and it's not true.
We're so young. It's like, I think social media just primes us to believe that everybody's millionaires in their 20s, and it's not true.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy.
Transitioning a little, we're going to go during the George Floyd protests over the summer of 2020. You were really outspoken on your social media, and you made a specific piece, the Unity necklace, which you spoke about a little bit before, for the cause, and actually donated more than $1,000 to various Black organizations, including Black Mental Health Alliance, Black Voters Matters Fund, and Color of Change, and more. So can you just tell us a little bit about like your decision to do this and the inspiration behind the piece as well?
Yeah, so I decided to do this. I decided to make this piece because I think I found myself in a position like many other white allies, feeling like I wanted to help, but I didn't know how. Mm-hmm. And I felt like there's a lot of things I can do. I can listen to Black voices. I can learn about the Black experience. I can have these difficult conversations with my friends and family. But is there something I have that's different than another person with this privilege might have? And I thought, well, I have my skill. How can I use my skill to raise money? Because I felt like something I might not have is the finances to donate to the places I wanted to donate to. So yeah, I decided to make the Unity necklace. I wanted it to symbolize the movement in itself, the Black Lives Matter movement. So it's half gold chain, half silver chain. Mm-hmm. And then it meets in the middle with a circle and a triangle that are interlocking, which is the Unity symbol. So yeah, I designed that back, I think, in June or July, and it's been for sale ever since. I've rotated the organizations that I've donated to monthly or bi-monthly. Cool. And last year we raised over $1,000
That's amazing.
just from the proceeds from the Unity necklace.
Wow.
Yeah, that would not have been possible without like people purchasing that, right? Like you probably couldn't have done that on your own. I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I couldn't have, and that's kind of where I felt a little helpless. I'm like, I know the best way to help support Black people is by donating money. I
Yeah.
don't have money to donate. How can I raise money to donate?
Yeah.
And I found a way to do it, which was really awesome.
Yeah. Art heals in more ways than one. So
True that.
that's
Oh,
yeah.
so you said it's still available for purchase?
Yes, so it's still available for purchase. I'm thinking about still doing kind of the rotating organizations until I find a permanent solution, because as I research, there are so many organizations to donate to that exist to support Black people
Mm-hmm.
in every possible category you could imagine.
It's really cool. Yeah.
It's really great that we have that option. So I'm just like, I'm going to just keep going with it. It's been successful, so I'm going to keep going with it and see where it takes me. But I'm hoping to leave it in my collection permanently, and all of the proceeds, so all the profit from it, go to these organizations.
Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming you plan on like keeping this type of philanthropy involved in your business in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like my business is definitely an extension of me as a person, which is really fulfilling, but also kind of terrifying.
It's very vulnerable. I can see that.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So this is something that's really important to me. Helping people is so important to me. It's part of my purpose, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can use my skill to support and help people who need it, I will definitely keep doing it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes.
I'm so excited to see what you can create through that lens, because I agree. I think you're so talented and obviously this very caring person that you can mush those two together in a way, or metalsmith them together. And I'm so excited to see what you can make. It's beautiful.
I'm so fascinated with like the metalsmithing. Like that just
I know.
Did
Do
you
you
watch
have like the whole suit and like the gear?
Wait,
So no,
you watch Shameless?
I've watched a little bit of it. Why?
No, there's a girl like in one of the later seasons and she gets into like welding, but she just
Oh,
looks
nice.
so fucking cool doing
Yeah.
it. She's like the only like lady welder like in the whole team.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not quite like as intense as welding. It's the same thing, but welding's just a larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is really small. So I wear some protective gear, but not the whole suit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same thing. I mean, I have a torch. It's super hot. It melts metal. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping to get some more process videos up on my
Yes.
Instagram so people can see, because a lot of people are fascinated by the process, I think.
Oh, yes. I'm very fascinated.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I just love what you do, and I hope to see Snow Jewelry Co. thrive and grow as a company. I think it's awesome. And I would love to know, you've touched upon it a little bit with your purpose, but where do you hope to take this in the future? Like big picture, what do you want Snow Jewelry Co. to be to you?
I want Snow Jewelry Co. to be a bigger business. I want to grow my business. I hope to sell my jewelry from local shops and boutiques on a wholesale level. And I hope that someday I'll have a storefront. That's kind of the dream somewhere. I don't know where, but I'd love to have a storefront. And I just hope I can keep using this passion to help people who need the help.
Well, I think you're on a really great path now. I know your old path didn't feel right, but this one definitely does.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I guess we can wrap up, and last but not least, just plug yourself. Where can our listeners find you? And is there anything on the horizon coming up?
Yes. So you can find me at Snow Jewelry Co. on Instagram. One word, no spaces, no caps. You can also find my Etsy. If you do a simple search on Etsy.com, you can just type in Snow Jewelry Co., one word, no spaces, and I'll pop up. And on the horizon, there are a lot of things. a lot of new designs, a lot of collabs, fundraisers. Follow me for social justice content, some DIY content. I love to craft and make things, and lots more.
It's very exciting.
Thanks so much, Natalie. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. This is very enlightening.
Oh, I feel like I'm learning.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Of course.
I'm so
Everybody
honored.
Go buy some jewelry now because it's beautiful.
Yes. Get that bling.
Thank you for listening to Meet My Mutual. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, please be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, and be sure to tell your friends about us. We welcome you to connect with us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Meet My Mutual. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you next time on Meet My Mutual.